Good evening, everyone. It's Uche Ago here. Can you hear me? Please put it on the chat box. Let me see.
Is that working?
Yes, it's live. It's live. It's live. It's live.
Oh,
Good
good.
evening, everyone. Sorry for the delay. We just had a bit of backstage issues. Hi, everyone. My name is Uche Ago. I'm a registered nurse currently practicing in the UK. And with me here today is a registered nurse in Qatar. I've known her from a hospital back in Nigeria, where I happened to interview her and say she stands out academically and clinically. Dr. Hayes, please, can you introduce yourself?
Okay, hello, hi, I'm Nurse Ehi. I'm actually a registered nurse here in Qatar. Hello, Nurse Uche.
Hi, Dr. Hayes. So today's live session is aimed at talking about becoming a registered nurse in Qatar. Everything you need to know. We'll ask some questions, and Hayes is happy to answer us. Dr. Hayes, please, can you tell us the steps it will take for someone who is a nurse back home to become a registered nurse in Qatar?
Okay, so the first thing first is they do what they call data flow. That's their own verification, where you have to verify your head license, you have to verify your transcripts, and then you have to get an experience certificate from your place of work. Either the HRO gives it to you or your MD gives you one. So you have to verify all these documents via their data flow sites. And after doing that, they give you a feedback. It takes around, if you want like to fast track it, it takes about a week to 2 weeks. But if you're not fast tracking, it takes about 1 month. And then when you get a positive report from them, you can now go book your Prometric exams. That's the license exam for nurses to be registered here in Qatar.
What
And
did you
when you
call?
do that, before you can start applying for jobs.
Okay, so is there any exam to write in
Hello?
Nigeria?
The challenge we're having now is that there's no Prometric center in Nigeria. So you have to come to Qatar to take the exams.
Okay, so
You
you
have
need
to
to
travel
get.
down to Qatar to take the exams.
So on what visa can the person come over to Qatar with?
Okay, so what I from my colleagues I met here, the Nigerians I met here, some of them they came in with a freelance visa. They
Okay.
came in with a freelance visa to this place. But then there's a challenge where if you come in with a freelance visa, when you get here after taking your exams
Mm-hmm.
and after passing it, you have to do a transfer of sponsorship because the visa you came in with is going to be carrying a different sponsor name. And then you have to now change it to the present employer's sponsor name that you will be working for. And that takes about like maybe a month to 3 months, if I'm really sure about like yes, I think it takes about a month to 3 months to do the transfer of sponsorship.
Okay.
But what about that is it's usually better to get a job before coming here. So you don't have to go through all that process of transferring sponsorship again.
If you're not. Okay. How would someone get a job? Can the person get it directly or through agency?
There are agents here who help people get jobs, and then you can also check on LinkedIn. There are jobs there, and then there's another site they call Glassdoor. You just have to put the location Doha, Qatar, and it shows you various hospitals hiring nurses.
Okay. I'll get that website and add it in the description at the end of the video.
Okay, all right.
So for the exam, what is it like? Is it like the normal table setting we have back home where you have examiners interviewing you, or is a computer exam?
It's a computer exam, just like the UK CBT. That's how the setting is like.
Oh, okay.
Just the
That means
same way
yeah.
your UK CBT is the same multiple choice questions.
Any practical session or test?
No, the only thing is when you are a registered nurse, every hospital has a policy that when you come in, they do like a competency test for you. just like an
Okay.
evaluation for you after your orientation to be
Yeah.
sure that you're competent enough to practice as a nurse there.
Okay. And then the next question would be, are there any, okay, what's your experience? What has been your experience so far in terms of technology, support, and all of that?
Okay, in terms of technology, I would say it's just like what you experience back home. But then what they do is during orientation, they show you their own documentation policy because it's quite different from what you're used to back home. And
Okay.
then for the support, I would say the people I met here, from the management to my colleagues, they've been really like helping, like very supportive and kind. And then
Okay.
another challenge again is the language barrier because there are some of the people you meet here, the patients you're attending to, who are not educated. They might not even understand English. So you just have to be patient, trying to understand the message they're trying to pass across to you. And it can be very frustrating. That's the word I would use. It can be frustrating sometimes, but with time, you just get to adjust and get used to it to understand.
Does the hospital provide any form of interpretation for their patients? For patients who do not hear English or understand English?
Okay. For me, what they did for me is they gave me like they gave me like some basic words to learn, like hello, how are you, what a man is called. They just give, not like they are teaching you, but they just give you like a handout having their English, Arabic languages like that. So at least you just understand the basic languages for you to be
Oh,
able to communicate with the patients. Yes. And then on your own, you have this, I think there's Duolingo. There are sites where you can learn languages. So on your own, you just find ways to help yourself too.
oh, okay. And then before you start the job, were there any form of trainings?
Oh yes, they did that. You have to do like an orientation for 1 month.
Right.
So during that orientation, you now to do an evaluation just to be sure that you understand their documentation policy, you
Yeah.
understand the religion, the way of handling their patients because it's different. It's just like sometimes where the men will sit are always different from where the women will sit. They don't sit together. It's an Islamic country.
Yeah. Okay.
So things like that, they have to train you.
Okay. Um, so are there any form of, okay, what would you say so far are your benefits of living there or probably working there for internationally trained nurses that want to move over?
Okay. Let's say for the salary, it's okay for me. If you ask me, it's actually okay because then there's no tax. And if you're
Okay.
lucky enough, some of the hospitals they provide accommodation and they even provide transportation for you. And then if you're not okay with the accommodation you're being given, some of them they give you the accommodation allowance, transportation allowance there.
So are you
They do
saying
that.
the accommodation they provide, you don't have to pay for it?
No, you don't pay for it. If some hospitals they provide shared accommodation, while some they can just give you maybe like a studio apartment to yourself. You
Oh, okay,
don't
nice.
pay for it.
And then you made mention of transportation. Can you throw more light on that?
Okay, so some hospitals actually have their own should I call it like a bus now that take
Yeah.
the patients from their accommodation to work and then from
Okay.
work
The
back
nurse.
to the accommodation. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Some do that.
So they're also saving you not just the house rent, they're saving you transportation
For
costs.
transportation, yes. Because sometimes there are some of the offer letters where they put that the company will be responsible, or yes, your sponsor is going to be responsible for your transportation and then responsible for your accommodation.
Wow, that's nice.
Yes.
So for the registration process when you're doing your verification from Nigeria down, like what's the rough estimates? How many months? If I start the process today, how long will it take if I'm applying from Nigeria?
Okay. So that I can actually not say the exact time because data flow. You can be lucky they are very fast. And then there are sometimes they can take a while. Because for me, they took a while. I have some persons who told me that theirs was fast. But for my own process, it took me some time because I kept sending emails, I kept sending messages and trying to like let them know how important it was for me to send the results to the people who needed them. So let's say roughly maybe like 1 to 3, 4 months. Let me just put it like that. On that average, you can get the verification ready. And then it depends on your school too. Because during the verification, they send a message to the head. Like for those in uni, they send a message to the registrar. And it
Okay.
depends on how fast they get response. They send a message to your hospital where you're working, they send a message to your school. And then they send a message to, okay, when you do verification from council, it depends on how fast council can approve your application. So
Yeah.
that's what usually delays the process.
Okay. What's the cost of this data flow?
Okay.
Do you pay in their currency
You
or
pay
you
in their
have?
currency. And the
Okay.
thing now is, as the dollar rate is increasing, their currency rate too is increasing for us. Because at that time, I think it was about, was it 1 riyal to 200 and something? And now I'm hearing it's about 1 riyal to 400 and something.
Oh,
To
okay.
400 and something. So which means if you're doing like the regular process, it takes about 900 Qatar riyals, yes. But if you have to do a fast tracking, there are other extra charges you pay for that.
Oh, okay. Okay, so just in case someone is just joining the live stream, so you're saying there's a data flow. If you go
Yeah,
on that data flow, you can start your verification from there.
verification
Once you're
process.
done with your verification, you find an employer.
No, this is how it is. Once you're done with your data flow, you're supposed to take an exam. You're supposed to take the license exam, which they call Prometrics. Is when you pass that license exam, you start applying for jobs. Because most people hiring, they always ask for data flow, they always ask for your Prometric. There's a result, your Prometric results.
Okay.
Why some would even go as far as asking you for your license.
Okay.
It just depends on how you're able to negotiate with the person hiring you. Because for me, I had to let them know that we didn't have a center here for the exams.
Okay.
Yes, and I just had to do my best that when you come over, you have to sit for it immediately and then you have to pass it.
Did you have materials at the time when you prepared for the exam?
Yes, they gave me materials. The educators gave me materials to prepare for it.
Okay. You've mentioned that there is support for foreign trained nurses, which
Yes.
is which is good to hear. I just want to say that would you, for any reason, right now leave Qatar for any other country, and why? Did you hear me? Hello? Did you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Hello?
I can hear you. He's
Okay, I can hear you too.
so I was asking, would you leave Qatar for any reason, and why?
Um, okay, fine. I think for me, if you ask me from what I've observed and my experience so far, I've just been here for a short while though. I think one of the challenges is the language barrier.
Okay.
Aside the language, I think to an extent they are liberal. It's not the way we think, oh, okay, the Arab country is
Yeah.
an Islamic country. Like they go to church on Fridays. They do like every other thing. Like how do I? Oh yeah, they do like every other thing, but just that you have to like be very careful with their rules and their regulations, where you don't have to violate anything because that's where you have your problems. But then I would say for me, it's not really a place I would want to stay for a very long time.
Okay.
Yeah, because there's always going to be that language barrier. Like trying to, how do I put it now, communicate with people is, it's kind of difficult, where you have
Okay.
to keep explaining yourself, trying to hand. So I think that's my challenge so far with them. So it's just a place where you want to stay, like they use the word hustle,
Begin
have.
where to start from. Hello. Hello. No, Sahiz, can you
Hello.
hear me?
Hello? No, Sahiz, can you hear me? Hello? No, Sahiz, can you hear me? Hello? No, Sahiz, can you hear me?
Can you hear me, Ahiz?
Hello? Yeah, I can hear
Yeah.
you. I
Oh,
think the
okay.
network is.
On the live stream, someone is asking that how can they come over to write the exams?
Oh, you have to now get a visiting visa. You have to get a visiting visa to come to Qatar to write the exams.
Okay. Okay. And
Yes.
what requirements would someone need for the visiting visa? Proof of fund and all of that.
No, for a visiting visa, no, you don't need proof of funds. So
Oh, okay.
it's just yes, because I think they get agents who do that. There are agents who just like the visiting visa is just like the vacation visa you get to visit other countries.
Okay.
But the difference now is that you're coming here to take an exam.
Live stream, someone is asking that how can
Vacation visa you get to visit other countries.
okay. And then I'm also going to ask for the sick leave. Do they offer sick pay for their staff?
Okay, where from at my workplace, they give you like 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Sorry, I say 6 weeks. They give you 2 weeks. They give you 2 weeks, and you have to go through the proper process to inform them that you're sick and all of that. And you write a mail. Yes, you write a mail to the HRO, and they give you about 6 weeks. I mean, sorry, I keep saying six. They give you 2 weeks. And
Okay.
for that 2 weeks, they pay you your full salary. And from then, if it's more than 2 weeks, from 3 to 6 weeks, they give you half salary. And anything exceeding 6 weeks, you're not getting any pay at all.
Okay. Would you advise nurses because right now there's a bit of delay with people getting sponsorship from UK in Nigeria right now or outside Qatar struggling to find a job to come over to Qatar.
Hey, yeah, sure. Like this place, they pay nurses and the doctors very well. I won't. That's like really true. They pay them well. They actually pay them well. So if we have colleagues who maybe they just yeah, they are finding it difficult to relocate to the UK, you can actually use this place as a ladder, like use it as a
Where you want to get
stepping,
to.
like a stepping point for you, till you get anything you want. You get anything different from this that you want to do.
Do they pay per hour or monthly salary?
They, they pay they it's actually the way they calculate it, it's hourly, but then when you're getting your pay, it's monthly. When I say hourly now, they tell you okay, they
How much
calculate
per hour?
if okay, let's say for instance you're getting like 100 to 300 an hour. They calculate that hour for a day and then they calculate it for a month. Like they just tell you monthly, this is your pay. It's when you get your pay slip, you start seeing how you're being paid
The
on your pay
breakdown.
slip. Okay.
Are you comfortable giving a range? I'm not asking you to say the exact amount. Are you comfortable giving a range of what a nurse should expect? Because some people would want to be sure it will be what's
Before they
living
get it.
right now.
Okay, so there are two things. There's a private hospitals in Qatar. There are private hospitals in Qatar and there's government-owned hospitals in Qatar too. The government hospitals they pay way more than the privates.
Okay.
So for the government now, a startup for government hospitals is about 10,000 to 12,000 Qatarians.
Okay.
Yeah, for government hospitals. Why the private will now pay you half of that amount? Or maybe they might not even pay you up to the half of that amount. And
Okay.
especially if some of these private hospitals or private companies are the ones bringing you from your country.
Okay.
Okay, yes.
So if they are bringing you from your country, are they going to sponsor your flight as well?
If you're going to sponsor your what, sorry?
Your
I didn't
flight.
get
They
that.
sponsor your flight as well. Will they sponsor your flights as well? Sorry, I think network is a little bit bad. Let's hold on a little bit to see if the network gets better. No, say he is. I'm asking, would they sponsor your flight as well?
Yes, they sponsor your flights. They give you a visa and then they sponsor your flight to Qatar.
Okay. Is there any other thing you would like to say to encourage anyone who is watching from anywhere and wants to move over to Qatar?
I would actually say it's a good place. Like it's a nice place to start from. That's the thing. It's a nice place to start from because when you come here, I think it's better for you to come and have your own experience. Because I might say I'm okay with it, and then somebody else will come and say they are not okay with it. Yes. So I think I would just say it's safer to say that you can come here to have your own experience because what I have in mind might be different from what another person has in mind. What they want to do and how they want to enjoy wherever it is that they are settled in.
Okay, then I'm just gonna ask this one roughly from my head. Like, how many days a week do I have to work if I move over to Qatar? And then does it encourage me to bring my spouse and family over?
How many what?
How many working days? How many days do I have to
Oh,
work with my
okay.
spouse here? And does it encourage me, as in, does the process encourage bringing your partner or your spouse and children over?
Okay, so in Qatar, when you get a job, your sponsor gives you a single visa. They
Right.
actually give you a single visa. So if you're coming here and then you want your family to join you, there's a particular amount you're to earn before bringing in your family, your husband, or should I just use the word your partner over? And then there's another thing one can do, like if you're a nurse and then your partner happens to be a nurse too. So it's like you get a job, you're coming in with a single visa, and that other person to get a job coming in with a single visa.
Okay.
And if you're doing that, you have children, you have to just make plans on how to look after the kids first until you're fully settled before considering bringing them in.
Bringing them in. Okay. And what's the how many
Yes.
days a week do you work and how many hours?
For me, okay, there's you work 8 hours and then you work 4 hours overtime. Some hospital and companies they make you do a mandatory overtime, like for the extra hours. Why some government hospitals you don't do that.
And is there provision to pick like
Overtime is
extra
not it's
shift?
not actually mandatory for you to do an overtime.
Is there an opportunity to pick an extra shift if you're off and you feel like, oh, I want to work today? Is there an opportunity to pick an extra shift? Did you hear me, Nehi? Did you hear me, Ahiz?
Okay, hello. Can you
Is
hear
there an,
me?
yeah, I
The
can hear you. Is there an
network.
opportunity to pick an extra shift?
If you let me extra shift, I work
Yes.
6 days a week. In fact, You have your offer and you see what you're signing in for. So I work 6 days a week. I work 6 days a week. And then the only day you have, you just have to rest. You won't be thinking of picking up any extra shift. You have to rest.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Someone said she had a question. Let me just quickly see
Yeah.
what the question is.
Okay.
Are there any final words you would want to tell anyone who is listening or who would listen in the future from here? Are there anything you see that people come over and are struggling with you wouldn't want them to come over to struggle with over there?
What's the question?
I'm saying, are there any struggles that you see that some people who are foreigners come over there that you wouldn't want people they are not aware to come over to struggle with? Are there any advice or suggestions, or that's what you want to say?
Okay. Okay. So this is what I would advise anybody coming here.
Okay.
Any of the jobs that you are getting, age restrictions. There's usually age restrictions, maybe above 45. Some people who are hiring you might not want any age above 45. And then you have some people who get freelance visas and they come here because they don't have those information. I notice it has been very challenging for them to get jobs. So I just feel I would advise anybody coming here to just know what you're signing in for from the very like from the initial stage, so you don't get into this place and then you're stranded.
Okay. So if I get the job and I'm 44 years, when I get to 45, will I still have the job?
Yes, you still have the job because you came here when before you clocked 45. You still have the job.
Okay.
You
I
definitely
want to
have the job.
I want to add Nurse Rachel. She said she had a question. Is that okay?
Okay, yeah, sure.
Hello, Does
Right.
Lucy. Hello, Does Ace.
Thanks for joining.
Thank you for the opportunity to come up live section and say something. I just wanted to ask, do we need the verification from Nigeria? Do nurses need to verify their
Hello.
documents from NMC Nigeria to work in Qatar?
Yes, you have to do that.
Okay. And
Yes,
I also
you
heard you say, okay, you were saying something.
okay. You were asking if you have to do a verification from NMCN, right?
Yes.
Yes, when you're doing verification for your head license, it's NMCN you have to go through to do that verification. Okay, because I don't know how to, I wish I had, okay, fine. The data flow, once you upload your documents,
Okay.
there's a site that links you to your NMCN platform
Okay.
where you have to now initiate verification for your head license and letter of good standing.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much.
Do you
And I
understand
also
what I'm
heard you
saying?
say there's nothing like tax in Qatar.
Yes.
You don't pay tax?
There's nothing like what?
Tax.
Tax. Taxes.
No, it's a tax-free country. You don't pay tax. You don't pay
Okay.
tax.
Okay. Then are there language requirements to work or live in Qatar? Do we need any form of language requirement?
I would say understanding Arabic is an advantage, though not all hospitals require a request for that.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Then for people with families, because the aim of traveling honestly is for you to at least be able to get a document for yourself and your family on a long run. So please, what can you tell us about getting a document in Qatar as a registered nurse that is planning to move or come with your family?
Oh, they give a single visa here. Like the
Okay.
visa they give to you is just for you alone.
Okay.
So if you're bringing in your partner,
Okay.
I would advise maybe the partner can get a freelance visa
Okay.
Or another, a certain amount of salary you earn before you can bring in your family.
Okay. So like
And I think they do that just as a way like of making sure that you're able to look after yourself and look after your family.
okay. I mean, as someone who is living in a country, for instance, you've lived in Qatar for like 1 to 5 years. Is there any future for someone living in Qatar? Is there any means of getting any form of long-term documents in the country?
I think she's asking permanent residence. What?
Yes, kind of. Any form of permanent residency in
Oh,
Qatar.
for I'm not so sure. We are talking about long term, about like getting citizenship and all of that, right?
Yes, yes. If you're planning to move with and settle in with your family.
Oh, okay. To my knowledge, for citizenship, I'm not so sure they give that.
Okay, okay,
I don't know if they give that, and because I've had to have conversations with the people I met here, and I
okay,
had to ask questions about regarding that. What I heard so
okay,
far was no.
okay, okay. Thank you so much, Nurse Lucy. Thank you, Nurse Ace. Thank you.
Okay, that's okay.
Okay.
No, Sahis, thank you so much. It's really enlightening for me as well. Thank you for your time here. If I
Okay.
have any other questions from people, I'll just ask you and then put it in the description whenever I post the video. Thank you for your
Oh,
time. I know it's really late over there, and then thank you for the sacrifice.
okay. Thank you. Thank you.
All
All
right.
right.
Have a lovely evening.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.
Okay. Bye.